top of the morning, top of the morning, top of the morning, top of the morning, top of the morning. Hold on.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode number 12 of the Top of the Morning Show. I am your host, Juan Gotti, and it is February 19th, 2024. And today we got to talk about the wide receiver market for the Washington Commanders to see who, in fact, we're going to see in the burgundy and gold next year, who makes a realistic option for the Washington Commanders next season. We thought T. Higgins was going to be a part of that deal, but it seems as if the Cincinnati Bengals are going to franchise tag him. Before we get into it, I want to ask you guys to do me a favor and subscribe to the channel, like this live stream, and turn on post notifications so you get notified when we upload new videos or go live like this on the channel. Again, you're tuned into episode number 12 of the Top of the Morning Show. I ask you guys comment throughout the show, so when we get to the segment of feedback time, you get your questions or your comments played on air. I asked you guys do that because that's the time for you to take over the show. Now, let's first start by talking about last night. So yesterday, the Washington Commanders had some news come out. I made a video on it, but if you haven't got to check it out, I'll just say it right here, right now. Washington Commanders, they hired a new assistant special teams coach. He has ties to Dan Quinn. That is going to be none other than Brian Schneider. He was the former special teams coordinator for the San Francisco 49ers and for the Seattle Seahawks, in which that's where Dan Quinn and him have their relationship from. I'm going to be completely honest with you. Although Larry Izzo is the special teams coordinator here, this guy has a really, really good past. He was a part of that Seattle Seahawks team, special teams unit, that had 26 takeaways. That he was a part of that special team unit that Percy Harvin returned to kick in the Super Bowl. Who remembers that against the opening kick of the second half against the Broncos? Steven Hauschka. Who remembers Steven Hauschka? He had Steven Hauschka playing at a high level, and then even more recently, Jake Moody. Remember the kicker for the 49ers? He had him playing at a high level. Punter Mitch Wishnowsky was one of the best punters in the NFL under his tutelage. So I say that to say, man, although Zane Gonzalez scares me like crazy, I think he should be going into the off season as the starting kicker. Now, I wouldn't necessarily not have any competition for him. I definitely would still put competition out there for Zane Gonzalez if I was the Washington Commanders, whether that's bringing in a guy through free agency or drafting a guy. And I still will also bring back Austin Cyber. Make somebody earn it. Don't just give them the job because, quite frankly, again, neither one of these guys was just that good to the point where they can just say, "Oh yeah, we're gonna give them the kicking job." They have to earn it, in my opinion. So I think that's how you should go about it. However, bringing in a guy along to add to the coaching staff like a Brian Schneider can allow the special teams unit to be much better, especially on the defensive side of special teams. Maybe we can create more turnovers. Turnovers is something that we need a lot of next season, especially given the fact that we want to see a different result. We already got a couple dogs on the special teams unit in Jeremy Reeves and Tyler Owens and Nick Ballou if he decides to return. So I think this is a good deal, man, and I'm excited for it. Next thing that the Washington Commanders decided to do yesterday was hire a 21-year-old coach by the name of Jesse Madden. And if that name sounds anything familiar, he is the grandson of John Madden. And he's going to be the offensive quality control coach for the Washington Commanders. And I already made a video on it about how cool that really is. I said, hey, look, man, he's 21 years old and he's already a coach. Like, imagine what he's going to look like in 20 years from now. 41 years old, I can definitely see him as a head coach because he's getting his feet wet this young. I don't know if this is an anomaly. I don't know if this is something that happens normal, but out of all my years of watching football, I feel like this is the first time I done heard a 21-year-old get a qualified coaching job. I'm not talking about internship. I'm not talking about, hey, this is just my this is for my college, something like that. I'm talking about a legit job, bro. Like, do y'all know the offensive quality control coach does his direct duties? Well, if you don't, I'm gonna break it down for you. So, an offensive quality control coach is essentially the right hand man of the offensive coordinator. He does all of the dirty work that the offensive coordinator doesn't have to do in terms of watching all of the film, cutting it up, putting it together, piecing it together for the team, allowing them to go through the cut ups. He does all the dirty work. So we give all the credit to Cliff Kingsbury. We give all the credit to Joe Witt Jr. for the success of the team. However, a lot of the credit also needs to go to these quality control coaches because they're the ones behind the screen doing all of the dirty work. They have to analyze game film. They have to prepare scouting reports on an upcoming opponent, and they have to assist the offensive coordinator by breaking down defensive schemes. That is a very big deal. So when you look at how good Washington performed that week against the team defense, let's just go for this past week or this past year with the Arizona Cardinals team. We went to Arizona and we played them really well, and we really did some damage to them boys this past year. And the offense looked unstoppable. Big reason as to that is because of the way we study and the way we prepare. And not only is it Cliff Kingsbury that get a lot of that credit, but it's the offensive quality control coach that gets a lot of credit. So for a 21-year-old man, I genuinely think this is a big deal because not only are you getting this kind of job where you're technically relied on a lot, but you get to learn from Cliff Kingsbury. And again, wouldn't shock me if this guy becomes a head coach in the next 10, 20 years. Head coaches get younger and younger, so man, who knows? But the fact that you're 21 and you have a high level job like this, man, I mean, nobody can really tell you nothing. If I'm being completely honest. So shout out to Jesse Madden, grandson of John Madden, for getting that role. Now, let's go ahead and actually talk about a little bit more in terms of the Washington Commanders receiving corps. So, as I started off the show with, T. Higgins will most likely not be a Washington Commander. The Cincinnati Bengals already came out and said that they plan on franchise tagging him yet again. And for me, it's definitely not the end of the world. Like, I already went into the mindset of knowing that we probably wasn't going to be able to get T. Higgins. It wasn't going to be because I didn't think he was going to be franchise tagged. I actually thought it was going to be because I thought Cincinnati was going to be able to work out a long-term deal. Now, they will. They will try to re-sign him, Trey Hendrickson, and obviously Jamar Chase as well. But if they can't push come to shove, they're going to franchise tag T. Higgins. And I don't know if that's possible to re-sign all three of those guys. So if we can't get T. Higgins, I'll definitely look at Trey Hendrickson. Like, I know they're not letting Uno leave. They're paying Uno long term. So it's either franchise tag T. Higgins or let him walk, or pay Uno long term, franchise tag T. Higgins one more year, and then let Trey Hendrickson walk. I just can't see a way they pay all three of these guys. So all three of them want to still be paid. So I think if they do it that way, Trey Hendrickson can hit the block or hit the free agency market, or they cut him or whatever, because I don't think his contract is necessarily up, but he wants new money. And I'll see us being a team that's interested. But T. Higgins not being a Washington Commander doesn't necessarily blow me, because I already knew this was a possibility. Now you're probably like, Juan, who is it that you want? I've been banging the table for Chris Godwin since the offseason started. I understand Chris Godwin comes with an injury history, but it's football, bro. Injuries happen. You think he goes out there and just wants to get hurt? No. Same with Cooper Kupp. They don't want to just get hurt, but you have a history of injuries. But he's 28 years old, man, and he has a year in and year out consistent 1,000-yard receiver alongside Mike Evans. Like, you're doing this with Mike Evans at the helm, the number one receiver Mike Evans. You can come to Washington and do the same thing. I want Chris Godwin. And even when you get Chris Godwin, I would love to trade for Deebo Samuel. Now, I don't know if that's necessarily possible now, because I see Chris Godwin wants to get paid. And we're going to have to pay him a pretty penny, which I don't think he's going to command a lot of money, given the fact that he has an injury history and a lot of teams ain't going to be willing to invest that much into him. But he is going to want to get paid a solid amount. So I say if Washington goes out there and they sign Chris Godwin in free agency, and then they bring in Christian Kirk as well, trade for Christian Kirk, because he's not going to command a lot, I wouldn't mind it. The thing with Christian Kirk and a lot of these Cliff Kingsbury guys is you got to go in with the mindset of knowing that these guys really only play well in Cliff Kingsbury's offense. So you got to be prepared to sign him to maybe a one-year deal, because you already know Cliff isn't going to be here past this season coming up. This is his last year being Washington Commanders offensive coordinator, and you don't want to sign Christian Kirk to a long-term deal knowing, hey, when he's not in Cliff Kingsbury's offense, he really struggles. However, the positives of Christian Kirk would be the fact that he's able to thrive in an offense such like Cliff Kingsbury. Last time he was in Cliff Kingsbury's offense, he had nearly 1,000 yards. Went to Jacksonville, had 1,000 yards there. So he has some quality role into him. But I definitely would love to see him potentially get here. Then you go down to another free agent guy. I know his name is very, very iffy. I know a lot of people probably don't want him here, but I want Stephon Diggs here, man. I genuinely do. Out of all of the veteran guys, Cooper Kupp, Devontae Adams, who's soon to be cut, and also with Cooper Kupp. Out of all those guys that are aging, man, I think Stephon Diggs is the guy that I think still has the most left in the tank. I'm not saying Devontae Adams is trash. I still think he's a hell of a player. I just don't, necessarily agree with his mindset. But Stephon Diggs is 31. He just turned 31. And I know he's coming off of a lower extremity kind of injury, but I think he still has a lot left in the tank. Would you be interested in taking a chance on Amari Cooper? I don't know. I don't know if Amari Cooper necessarily has a lot left in the tank, or he's still the same Amari Cooper of old. I think Buffalo may re-sign him too. Chris Godwin, I saw in the comments, we're going to get to it when it's time to comment. Read the comments, but Chef Dre Boog just told me Goodwin working on a deal with Tampa Bay, so we'll talk about that when we get there. So he may be off the books. Other than that, Stephon Diggs, maybe Amari Cooper. I don't want DeAndre Hopkins. I'm good off of Mike Williams. Like this wide receiving class is pretty weak. So if I'm being honest, maybe Tyler Boyd. I don't know if Tyler Boyd could tap back into that Cincinnati Tyler Boyd. I don't know. But again, he isn't a guy that you go out and get only. Like, none of these guys are only guys that you get only. I expect us to do multiple moves when we do make these kind of decisions. But needless to say, I think we're trading for a wide receiver after looking at this wide receiving core. Now, again, you have to let this offseason play out, because you don't know who gets cut. You don't know if Devontae Adams gets cut. You don't know if Cooper Kupp gets cut. You don't know if post-June 1 cut Deebo Samuel. You don't know what happens. They're still early, but just off the first glance of right now, I think trading for a wide receiver would probably be the best option. Because there's not a lot out there this offseason. Now, do you draft a wide receiver? Potentially. I know a lot of people have been showing some love to Trey Hurst out of Ole Miss. Maybe. But I think you trade for a wide receiver. I think that's the best option. Because right now it seems very slim pickings of who's gonna be out here this offseason. Now, I want you guys to do me a favor and subscribe, like, comment. You're listening to the Top of the Morning Show, episode number 12, where we're discussing all things Washington Commanders. Now, next thing that we're going to talk about here, and this is very fresh, is 3 possible trade. It says 3 players who should be off limits and potential Myles Garrett trade. This is Rigo's Rags here. So it says the Washington Commanders are being touted as the lead front runner to trade for 2023 NFL Defensive Player of the Year, Myles Garrett from the Cleveland Browns this offseason. Again, they think we're the leading landing spot because we're the team that has an opportunity to go to the Super Bowl, and we have the third most cap space in NFL. But the first player that should be off the books, I agree, is Mikey Samerstill. Mikey Samerstill, Jaden Daniels, and Terry McLaurin are the 3 guys in which I'm like, no, you cannot trade for, you cannot ask for in the trade. And it says, aside from Daniels, Mike Samerstill was Washington's best rookie in 2024. He came on especially strong in the season after being drafted number 50 overall in the second round. His 2 interceptions against the Detroit Lions players played a significant role in Commanders' divisional round triumphant. The former Michigan standout is the best young piece in Washington's secondary and possibly the entire defense. Sam still been included in the potential trade for Garrett will bring back far too many memories of when Washington dealt Kendall Fuller in 2018 blockbuster deal for veteran quarterback Alex Smith. The cornerback had just completed his breakout campaign and was in line for a featured defensive back position for the team moving forward. The Commanders cannot make the same mistake again. Oh my God, who remembers that? Who remembers that? I still remember that day, getting that notification that we traded Alex Smith, or we traded for Alex Smith. And correct me if I'm wrong, but immediately when we traded for Alex Smith, all of the details didn't come out. And Kendall Fuller was coming off of his best year as a Commander. But at that time, we needed a quarterback, though. We needed a quarterback. Obviously, you don't re-sign Kirk Cousins. He let him walk in free agency, and he goes to Minnesota. So you needed a quarterback. So I ain't gonna necessarily say that was a bad trade back in the day because you have to do something. You have to give up something for the most important position on the NFL. Now, if it's today, you already got Jaden Daniels, and I'm not giving up Mike Samerstill for Myles Garrett. You're damn right. He's not a quarterback. So hell no. Mike Samerstill's off the books, or off the market, I should say, and that's a no-brainer. He shouldn't even come out. The second that the Browns even mention Mike Samerstill's name, you should hang up the phone. Mikey is a dog. I love what Mike Samerstill did this season. I personally, myself, would still keep him on the outside. I know a lot of other people want to curry him and put him back in the slot. No, he's earned his right to be on the outside, if you ask me. And that's where he belongs. Moving on, it says Frankie Louisville. Ooh, that's another one. I didn't even mention Frankie Louisville. Wait. They only said 3. They only said 3. 3 guys that should not. Okay, maybe these are 3 defensive guys. Because it has Mike Samerstill, Frankie Louisville, and Johnny Newton. Frankie Louisville, definitely off the books. You shouldn't put him in no type of trade package for Myles Garrett. I love Frankie Louisville. Agree with him. It says when it comes to untouchable veterans on Washington's defense, the first name that should come to mind is Frankie Louisville. 2018 undrafted free agent, experienced a breakout season in 2024. His first year with the Commanders after spending his first 6 years of his professional career with the New York Jets and the Carolina Panthers. Louisville racked up 99 tackles, 8 sacks, 1 interceptions, and forced fumbles, and 2 fumbles recoveries during the regular season en route to being named second team All-Pro. More importantly, the dynamic linebacker was the emotional heartbeat of the Washington Commanders from front 7. It continues on to say the Washington State product impact goes far beyond the stat sheet. Louisville gets in opponent's heads and embraces the villain role. He's not a player Commanders can afford to lose. I agree again. That's another guy that's off the books. Johnny Newton, though, call me crazy or say what you want, but he is expendable if you ask me. I want a whole overhaul at defensive tackle, meaning I'm fine with moving on from Jonathan Allen and Deron Payne. Now, we're not going to move on from Deron Payne, more likely than not, because he costs us too much money. But if it was me, all these guys are expendable on the D-line. I know Johnny Newton's only going to be in year 2, and he hasn't fully developed, and we still don't know what we have in Johnny Newton. But if it's for Myles Garrett, bro, I think he's expendable. I think now, if you're like, you turn on the film and you say, hey, look, man, I'm telling you, he gets a full year being healthy and a full year of play. He could be something special, man. Maybe that's your thought process, but I don't know. My immediate thought process is you want Johnny Newton involved in that Miles Garrett trade. Go ahead, do it. I don't know, man. I don't know. That's just how I think. But those are the three. At least it says defensive players that they wouldn't trade. I thought they were talking about overall team wise, because I would take Johnny Newton off that, and I would put like Terry and obviously Jay Daniels. But I think that's just defense. But I think Johnny Newton is. I think out of all three of those guys that are expendable, who do you think and do you think when it comes to defensively, offensively, who are your untouchables when it comes for trading for Myles Garrett? Who are you not willing to give up? Obviously, we know Jaden Daniels. Obviously, we know Terry McLaurin. Are those the only offensive guys? Because, I mean, I don't want to give up Sam Cosmi, but who wants Sam Cosmi right now when he's coming off a torn ACL? I genuinely think those are the two offensive guys that are untouchable. Everybody else is free game. And defensively, it's Sanders still, it's Oos. Is that it? Am I missing somebody? I feel like I am. I feel like I'm missing somebody. But Johnny Newton for me isn't untouchable. I definitely feel like Johnny Newton can go. But yeah. All right, y'all. Let's go ahead and get to the comment section. We'll get to the comment section and we'll get out of here, man. You know, I only have 30 minutes of time today before I got to get back to the videos and upload and work on these videos. So I'm going to go ahead and read the comments and then we're going to get up out of here. Ebony Wright says, good morning. Good morning. How you doing? Top of the morning to you. Thank you so much for listening to Top of the Morning Show. As always, it's been your boy, Juan Gotti. Appreciate you. Yo, my brethren, let's get it. What's up, Uptown Dre? How you feeling, man? Appreciate you for stopping by listening to Top of the Morning Show. N7 Commander Shepard says, good morning, boss, man. With T probably off the market. Who else do you think will want to get? Christian Kirk, Debo, if he gets cut? I think for me, if now that T. Higgins is off the market, dare I say Debo Samuel is my out besides Chris Godwin, but y'all just told me Chris Godwin's working out a deal with Tampa Bay, which doesn't surprise me, man, because him and Mike Evans, bro, they're loyal as hell to that organization. God damn, Chris. But now, all seriousness, though, he probably loves Florida, the weather. You know, that's the team that he's been with forever. So I'm not surprised that he's working out a deal with them. But now that Chris Godwin's potentially off the books as well, Shepard, I think Debo Samuel might be my number one option. I would love DK Metcalf, but I definitely feel like since Debo Samuel has openly requested a trade and the 49ers have granted him an opportunity to find a trade partner, I fully expect him to potentially go. DK Metcalf would be my first option, but I don't necessarily know if they're willing to trade him or if that's just, all talk. Reek says, what's up? What's up, DJ Reek? How you feeling, son? But yeah, I wouldn't mind Christian Kirk. The thing is, with Christian Kirk, you still got to do more. I wouldn't be satisfied with just Terry and Christian Kirk. Terry, Christian Kirk, and who else? Are you telling me Terry, Christian Kirk, and Debo Samuel? Or not Debo Samuel, but I don't know, because he's a slot guy. So I think we would need a true number 2 if we get Christian Kirk. Same with Debo Samuel. We trade for Debo, I think we still would need a true number 2 receiver. So Chris Godwin, T. Higgins off the books, more likely than not. I think I would go with Debo Samuel as my first option. Yo, Juan, let's get it, my boy. PSN Commanders Network. Shout out to Totm, PSN Commander Network. Make sure y'all check him out. Subscribe to his channel. Link down below in the comment section, and you can check him out. Chef Book, thank you for the update. Chef J Book says, Godwin working on a deal with Bucks. Yeah, I just saw it. Your comment earlier, man. Definitely sucks because he was my guy. He was my guy. I was banging the table for. But again, it's not surprising, man. Them Buccaneers players are so loyal to that organization. And quite frankly, I don't know though. I was gonna say maybe that's the organization that would give him the most money, but I think we would. I think we would. I think we would pay Chris Godwin, man. Seems like he's going back to Tampa Bay. Diggs could work and a local guy. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, bro. A lot of people say about Stephon Diggs, oh, diva mentality, this, that, and the third, man. Look, I'm not saying that wasn't him years ago or even, recently, but he's coming off of a torn ACL. All he wants to do is win. He's at the stage of his career where all he cares about, I'm pretty sure at least all he should care about is winning. He got all the stats. He got all the money. Only thing missing is a Super Bowl ring. And why not come home and win a Super Bowl ring with your local team, bro? That's just my thought process about it. That's what I would do. But hey, Uptown Dre says we should either draft Trey Harris from Ole Miss or Eric Amner Stafford, or excuse me, says we should either trade Trey Harris, Ole Miss, Eric Yamana. I'm sorry, I misbutchered that name. I'm sorry. Stanford or Jaden Higgins, Iowa State. What do you think about Emeka Ibuka? He may be going too early, but y'all think he's just a slot guy at the next level? Y'all don't think he'll be a legit number 2? And I already know we know Tutorial McMillan, the good dude from Arizona, he's probably going, what, top 10? So I definitely like Trey Harris. I looked into him a little bit. I'll definitely look into Eric, Stafford, and Jane Higgins. But I'll definitely bang the table for Trey Harris. Big body receiver, physical, block down the field, has great hands, has a great ability to track the ball. And it seems like Ole Miss breed nothing but big wide receivers. So hopefully he can follow in the shoes of Miles or AJ Brown and DK Metcalf. And 7 Commander Shepard says, who would besides Miles Garrett you would go after for the defense? If we're talking about defense as a whole or just edge rusher. If we're talking about edge rusher, I'm gonna go edge rusher specifically, and I'll probably work my way to the rest of the defense. I would go after Hassan Reddick. I would go after Trey Hendrickson if he's made available. I think Chase Young would be solid here if we bring in another guy. I don't think Chase Young is good in terms of he can come in and be our second pass rusher alongside Dante Fowler. No. I think we need a game-changing edge rusher, and then you can have Chase Young as a backup. But I'm just talking about in general. Chase Young isn't my first, second, or even third option, but if they brought him in, I wouldn't mind it on a 1-year prove-it deal. I will go after – I just made a video on the edge rushers too. It's crazy how I forgot already. Khalil Mack could be solid too. I know he's 33, 34 years old, but he's just a season removed from 17.5 sacks. And Bobby Wagner, if Bobby Wagner ain't do nothing for you this season, you should change your mindset on older players. 33, 34, man, you still can get it. So I wouldn't mind Khalil Mack. As far as anything else, I would try to look at some defensive linemen to replace Jonathan Allen, because I do think we're going to move on from Jonathan Allen this offseason. So let me actually go ahead and look at that, because I'm not going to lie to y'all, and I know I might be in the minority when it comes to this defense, but I've only been worried about the defensive line this offseason. I'm not going to lie to you. I haven't been worried about anything else, because I think we should re-sign Noah Igbenogany, let him play the slot, let Mike Samuels still go to the outside, and Marshawn Lattimore as the starting guy. But I know a lot of other people believe we need to draft cornerbacks. So if we do that, I wouldn't be mad. Left tackle, I wouldn't be mad at that. But I've only looked at edge really this offseason. That's also forgot to say. Defensive tackle, I would get Odigizua to replace Jonathan Allen. Odigizua is the guy that I would get to replace Jonathan Allen from Dallas. That way, you cut Jonathan Allen, you could replace him with Odigizua, who's younger and, quite frankly, probably better at this point at the point of his career. So yeah, that's where I'm at with it. Let me see here. I'm trying to pull up the defensive lineman. Let's go cornerbacks, actually. DJ Reed. Travarius Ward. Yep, Travarius Ward is another guy that I would go after. DJ Reed is another guy I've been hearing. What about Carlton Davis? I think Detroit probably resigns Carlton Davis because he was so good for them in the slot and on the boundary corner as well. But probably Travarius Ward defensively. What y'all think about Tyler Noah Hufanga? Tyler Noah Hufanga, he's another 49er guy. Dre Greenlaw coming off of an injury. Which I mean. But nah, I'll say Tyler Noah Hufanga, or I would say Travarius Ward as well. If we was to attack corner, I don't think we need to, in my opinion. But if we was to do that, I'll say Travarius Ward. But yeah, let's go and get to the last two comments, and then we'll get up out of here. N7 Commander says, hell no, we shouldn't trade Oos. No, most definitely. Oos is off of the trade market. There's no way in hell we trade Oos in any kind of package for Myles Garrett. If we do that, I'll be highly upset. I'm not gonna lie to you. And last comment before we get up out of here, because I gotta go. Just remember, do we take Chase Young back if he's a free agent? He is a free agent, so obviously he's gonna be there. And this is what I said. This is what I said in my video. When it comes to Chase Young, he's not my first, second, or third option. But if they went out there and they got Myles Garrett, and then they also went to bring in a Chase Young, I wouldn't mind it. Or if Myles Garrett isn't there, but I want to overhaul at the edge rush position. I want to go crazy. I want to re-sign Tate Fowler. We already got Dorrance Armstrong, so we already got two guys. Or if we re-sign Dante Fowler, but then I also want to trade for Myles Garrett, or I want to sign a pass rusher as well. And then I also want to double down and get a guy like Chase Young, because I think Chase Young can be really well in a backup capacity. So I wouldn't mind Chase Young, but you got to explore all your options first. He's not my first, second, or third option. But if we was to bring him here on a 1-year deal, I wouldn't be mad at it. Adrian Dockett is going to take us out, and then we'll get up out of here. He says, look, let's just sign wide receiver Stephon Diggs, trade for wide receiver DK Metcalf, and wide receiver Christian Kirk. Let's rock out. Defensively, sign Travarius Ward, DJ Reed, cornerback Asante Samuel Jr., and Dre Greenlaw. I ain't going to lie. Adrian, this ain't Madden, my brother. This ain't Madden. That looks good. Don't get me wrong. That looks good. And I would love that. But this ain't Madden. Ain't no way in hell you getting all that. You ain't getting Stephon Diggs. You ain't also trading for DK Metcalf. And you ain't also trading for Christian Kirk. I would love for that to happen. But shit, you're not doing that. And then also signing Travarius Ward and DJ Reed. And Asante Samuel Jr. and Dre Greenlaw. Like, nah. We got money, but we ain't got all that money and all that draft capital, because you got to trade for two out of all those players that you just named. Two most impactful players you just named, we got to trade for. Since we got Jean Baptiste on the edge, I like the potential of Jean Baptiste on the edge, but he doesn't stop you from getting upgrade there for sure. But he's solid, but he ain't nobody that's like a game changer. So I definitely look to upgrade Javonte Jean Baptiste if possible. That's not giving up on him, but that's just knowing the potential of where we're at right now. He is coming off of a season in which he only had 6 solo tackles and 1 sack. So he's a guy that stays around, and I think he can be solid. But again, he's not a guy that you say, oh no, we're not going to trade for Myles Garrett, or we're not going to sign this pass rusher because we got Javonte Jean Baptiste. He's not. Oh, okay. You said depth. Okay, yeah. Depth. Okay, yeah, no, depth definitely. Depth definitely. Good. It says, let's go defensive end Jonathan Allen. Let go Jonathan. Yeah, we should let go defensive end Jonathan Allen, defensive tackle, defensive lineman Jonathan Allen. I made a video on that. It'll save us some money towards the cap, and we can get that and use that to trade or sign somebody else by letting go Jonathan Allen. But yeah, man, there you have it. Let me know what you guys think about this down below in the comment section. This is episode 12. I'm gonna go ahead, slide to the side, and I'm gonna go ahead and finish working on these videos. I got a couple videos dropping today, so stay on the lookout for that. I appreciate y'all for rocking with me, man. I'm trying to get this 10K, so I'm grinding like crazy. So stay on the lookout for all the videos coming out. I'll see y'all later. I'm out. Peace.